Hey guys, welcome to this video. I do have a confession to make, I'm afraid. I got bored of turning right, so I decided for this video we're just going to be turning to the left, so I hope everyone's okay with that. We're at Blue Moon Speedway, which is the triangular shape oval. I guess it's not an oval, but it's a triangle, but it's like an oval track. I don't know how to explain that. Anyway, it's the oval, right? I'm driving the Jaguar F-Type. This is from one of the championships, the Nations Cup Championship, the new one that they've just released. This is the second race in that championship, and I've qualified in 4th place. I had a pretty good qualifying time. The qualifying was quite funny because on the practice board beforehand, obviously everyone has to practice without the slipstream. So as soon as we got in here, like the best practice lap time was like a 43.3 something. The guy who qualified in first got like a 43 flat. He was 0.3 faster than the fastest person on the practice board. So the slipstream was obviously just like a massive thing. Like that's what oval racing is all about, I guess. I chose the F-Type because I did notice on that practice board that it was coming up a few times, and it's not often that the F-Type is one of the more competitive ones. I'm imagining. Well, actually, I don't really know. It seems like it was not buffed recently, so I don't know if people just have decided they like it now. But the other thing is once you got into the race, I mean, maybe for like the practice lap board, this might have been one of the better ones. The Toyota FT1 was one of the other ones that people were using. Yeah, but maybe for practice laps. But actually, when you got into the race, it didn't make any difference. You could have taken literally any of the GR3 cars because they're all round about the same speed, and the whole thing was just about slipstream. In fact, to be honest, the F-Type doesn't have that much top end in Gear 6, so it might even not have been the best one to actually take into the race. But I'm never going to complain about an opportunity to drive the F-Type because it is one of my absolute favourites. And you can see there's someone just getting absolutely wiped out. You can always tell when someone gets wiped out because their little chevron just does a windmill impersonation on the minimap. Yeah, I'm going to come away from the race for a minute. There was a couple things that I kind of fancied talking about in this video that aren't to do with the race, so I'm going to leave this running for you guys to enjoy and watch, and hopefully I actually find it surprisingly exciting. I'm not really into oval racing, but it is quite captivating for some reason. Anyway, right, I've got to stop and move on. So I've been trying to think about ways to kind of broaden the channel out and help the channel grow a bit. Obviously, that's kind of, you know, everyone wants the channel to grow. You know, well, all the if you're a content creator, that's kind of your goal, I suppose. You want more viewers, and I think there must only be so many people that will only want to watch Gran Turismo. I still really like Gran Turismo, obviously. I would happily just make Gran Turismo videos, but I want more people to enjoy my videos, obviously, and I kind of feel like perhaps it's difficult to expand if I only kind of make the same game, you know, videos from the same game. So on that note, I've been thinking about what other games I could play, but I want to stick to racing. I don't want to. You know, when I started this channel many years ago, I was doing all sorts of different games, Call of Duty and a bit of Gran Turismo, and then Battlefield, and then, you know, whatever, just random whatever, which I don't really, it just didn't really have any focus to it. So that's not really what I'm interested in. I still play a lot of different games, but racing games is what I want to make videos about. So I'm going to stick to racing. But I've been watching a guy on YouTube called Super GT. I'm sure many of you guys know him, or maybe you watch his videos. And he makes really good videos, and he does a lot in Forza, and it's a very different game, but it does look quite enjoyable. It looks like kind of, I don't know, a bit more light-hearted, I suppose, slightly less serious. Yeah, very different, but obviously it's still racing, and it looks like it could be a lot of fun. And so I was sort of going to see what you guys might feel, and I appreciate that I'm probably asking the wrong audience, you being everyone who watch Gran Turismo videos, but I think there might be an audience out there for who might want to see that kind of stuff, and then hopefully people who like Forza stuff might then find that they also like Gran Turismo stuff, and then everyone's a winner. So yeah, I don't know, how would you guys feel about that? And I suppose there are other games out there. An obvious one that springs to mind would be something like Assetto Corsa, which I have on PC. However, I don't think I'm going to make videos for Assetto Corsa because I really don't like the multiplayer in Assetto Corsa. I apologise if I'm upsetting anyone who thinks it's a great game. I think it's a pretty good simulation. The graphics are quite nice. There's lots of tracks, and I like the fact you can just add the modded tracks and things like that. But in my honest opinion, the multiplayer is pretty abysmal. So I really don't like the multiplayer in that game at all. And it's not even just like the race, like what kind of racing it is and stuff, but it's just like it's just not well done at all. So I really don't want to play that online. So it won't be Assetto Corsa. I apologise if you're an Assetto fan. But I don't know, maybe there's some other games out there as well. I do have stuff like Drive Club, which I know is like obviously not a simulation game, but it's racing, and well, maybe there's other stuff as well, who knows. But that's kind of what I'm feeling. The one drawback, or I say drawback, the one problem is, at least if I were to go to Forza, is I don't have an Xbox, so I suppose I'd have to invest in an Xbox, and I'd probably just play on the controller or something, because I definitely can't afford an Xbox and another wheel. So I'd probably just get an Xbox, you know, try and find one second hand or something, and pick up a copy of Forza or something like that. And yeah, I don't know. What do you guys feel about that? On another note, on the PlayStation note, I've been kind of getting more and more addicted by the idea of the 60 frames a second television camera thing. Basically, if you guys don't know, the PS Plus can run everything on Gran Turismo at 60 frames per second, or you can set it to like high quality mode, where it makes things look a bit prettier, I guess. And I think you can run it in HDR, even though I don't even have an HDR monitor. But the main thing that attracts me is this camera mode that you're looking at now, with like the kind of the television camera thing that I like, is kind of how I call it. It actually only runs at 30 FPS. I think it's the only camera that runs at 30 FPS. I think all the other cameras run at 60. But on the PS Plus, I say PS Plus, why am I saying that? On the PlayStation Pro, I think I've been saying the wrong thing all along. On PS4 Pro, you can run that camera at 60 FPS, which is like, oh, I really want that. So I've found a really good deal on a PS4 Pro, so I've picked one of those up, which means I'll probably be selling my old PS4. So if anyone happens to be on the market for one of the original PS4s, do send me a message. But anyway, that's sort of a side note. So I should be getting a PS4 Pro pretty soon, and then have glorious 60 frames a second for my replay cameras, which I'm very excited for, because I also upgraded the Elgato to the HD 60. So I've been recording in 60 frames for a while now. I don't know if anyone noticed, but obviously this camera actually still runs in 30, even though it's capturing at 60. So kind of excited to get that show on the road. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. We'll go back to the race, I suppose. I think that's all I had to say for now. You can see we're on lap 12 out of 20. And just earlier on, I got squeezed right up into the wall by someone who's actually now disconnected from the race, it would seem. The Finnish guy squeezed me on the wall right here on this tight turn 1, and it like made my car do a little bunny hop, which was quite funny. I was so scared. I thought the car was just gonna start spinning out and doing horrible things, but I managed to keep it going straight. But I did lose a bunch of time, and I actually lost slipstream from the guy at the back of this front pack. So I just thought, right, I've got to nail some really good strong laps, because these guys are obviously going to go quicker than me on the straights because they're all in the slipstream. But on the tight left-hander, I said the tight left-hander, they're obviously all left-handers, but on the first turn, the tight one, they were going a lot slower because they were going side by side, and they were like nudging each other out and battling and stuff like that. So I could tell that they were going to go slower. So I just had to lay down a couple of really good laps. And I fortunately managed to catch the tail end of some slipstream from whoever it was that was at the back, and sucked me back into this front group. Because as you might have noticed, there's a bit of a gap now. So there's this front group that was 6 cars, there's now only 5 cars since one guy disconnected, and then there's a big gap, and then there's like another pack behind us, and then yeah, sort of all the others from there. So didn't really want to get stuck. And then some poor guy way at the back, I felt so sorry for him. Like, we were almost catching up with him, he's so far behind. But yeah, I don't really do any oval racing, so I don't know the tactics. Managed to get lucky there though. These guys had a bit of a collision, put me into third. I don't really know the tactics for oval racing, so I was just kind of going with it. I'd never done any of the oval races on GT Sport before either, so I obviously practiced the track, so I knew what the track was like, but I'm not kind of like very aware of tactics for this kind of stuff. And it's actually quite tricky because of the slipstream and the nature of it. You're always like super close to people. There's always someone right behind you, right in front of you, you know, either side. You can be boxed in, like stuff like that, and it's things that don't often happen in kind of circuit racing. And you've got to be like really focusing not to screw someone else over or yourself or just make a mistake. And this guy, you see, just gets the tiniest of overlaps that stops me taking the inside line here. And he's actually just going to nudge me wide. You see, I almost lost it there, and then all hell's going to break loose, and I just managed to squeeze through there. Oh my god, my life flashed before my eyes. Me and Ion Striker, and I think it was Max Bailey. Those guys, because I got clipped from the back left, and that sort of nudged him to the left, and then someone else, I think that was coming through. I don't know. It all went to shit, and I just about made it through fairly unscathed. Lost a bit of speed, but everyone else did as well. But that means that our front pack has now been reduced down to just 4 drivers with only 3 laps to go. So it's kind of getting exciting. And this is kind of where I've been trying to work out what the best strategy is. Do you want to be in the front on the last lap? Or do you want to be in like 2nd place or 3rd place and get like a nice little slingshot through on this last turn? But the other thing you've got to think about is it's actually not a very long course. So this back straight, or this finishing home straight, is like barely enough time to overtake someone, even with slipstream. You've got to get a better run and be in the slipstream and then pass through, so it's not easy. And so I kind of was thinking, right, I probably want to be in first place, or at least in 2nd, and like very close to the guy in 1st to be able to make that pass through into 1st. Currently sitting in 3rd, I can see these 2 front guys ahead, myself and Ion Striker. I think, is that flag, is that India? I want to say that's India. Kind of looks like the Ireland flag, but sideways, and got a little blobby thing in the middle. And then, coming through onto the penultimate lap, just as we start lap 19, I managed to find myself in 1st place. Not really sure how that happened. Both the 2 guys in front of me were going quite wide. I ended up kind of just sliding through, but I wasn't really sure that that was the best place to be. But I thought, well, we've got to make the most of this. Coming around the outside. Just about, again, this is super scary, because like, in a situation like that, if Chelsea had just cut across a bit further in front of me, I could have ended up in the wall there and lost a lot of speed and then been out of the running for the final lap. I can just see Ion Striker weaving a little bit to the left and right, and I was like, you know what, I do not want to be part of that, so I just backed off to the right hand side, coming around the outside. Just going to get a little bit of contact between me and Ghostly Razgriz, I guess that's what that is. The 4 cars at the front here, 3 F-types and the Mitsubishi. And going to come up into 2nd place for the last lap. And Ghostly Razgriz had a bit of a mistake here with Ion Striker. So those 2 are going to drop back, which leaves 2 of us left. I've got the lead here, coming around for the final turn now, and I should have gone defensive. It was a big mistake. I left the inside open. I don't really know why. I thought if I'm on the outside I can get better exit. Left it open, get a better exit, and he's just going to pit maneuver me. Chelsea XX just does one dirty on me. I somehow managed to recover it and just about avoid the pit wall. We're going to watch it again here. Come around the last turn, side by side. I give him plenty of space, and then you ready? In we go. There it is. Let's just put you in the wall. I do a nice little 360. Iron Strike comes through, and I just about... Oh my god, I don't know how I managed to keep that inside the pit wall. If I'd hit that wall, it would have been all over. There it is, spinning around. Nice little 360. I was going for style points. And across the line, luckily, in 3rd place. However, as you'll see, it has promoted me up to 2nd place. And what happened was, I guess, well, I obviously know, is Chelsea XX got a 10-second penalty for pit manoeuvring me, and it put him down into 13th place. So he got what he deserved thoroughly. But the other thing that's quite funny is everyone in the entire race has a negative SR, and I was the only one that had blue. In fact, everyone started the race on S, and there's one guy that's got a B now. I don't know, he must have been involved in something terrible. But I was the only one who actually managed to have a blue SR, which I thought was hilarious. So 2nd place. Happy with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you like turning left. And I'll see you in the next one.